Experiencing failure is something I'd recommend, honestly. Sounds weird, right? But failure, as tough as it can be, is also an important teacher. It helps build resilience and teaches us to persevere. The most satisfying achievements aren't the easy ones. They're the times when you fall flat on your face and get back up. After all, you can't really learn anything if you don't understand where you went wrong, and there's real satisfaction in picking yourself up and pressing on. As one motto goes, it's not about how you fall off the horse, it's about how you get back on. Plus, real failure only happens when we refuse to use the setback as a stepping stone for future success. How would we know our strength if we don't test our limits? So embrace your failures. They're not the end of the world, they're part of the journey. Failing at something, whether it's playing an instrument, sports, or even cooking, is important to understand that not being great at something is actually okay. As cliche as it sounds, failing is often the first step to success. You learn a lot about yourself, your resilience, your determination, and even discover new passions. It's also crucial for personal growth. So yeah, get comfortable with the uncomfortable and embrace failure. It's not always about the destination. Sometimes the journey, with all its highs and lows, is more important. Everyone should experience the sting of putting all their effort into something and not succeeding. It's kind of a tough love reality check, but it also builds resilience. Experiencing rejection. Getting rejected can be a tough pill to swallow, no doubt about it, but it's one of those things that can really help you grow as a person. I mean, it's not fun in the moment, but how you react and pick yourself up really sets the stage for life. Even if you initially can't handle it well, it's still a chance to learn and improve. Plus, remember, every rejection is a redirection towards a new and potentially even better opportunity. So, in a nutshell, I'd say that experiencing rejection is a tough but valuable life lesson we should all go through at least once. Going through a breakup, going through a failed relationship is a tough experience, but it's something everyone should go through at least once. Love alone isn't enough to make a relationship work. It's a hard lesson that teaches us life isn't always fair, and sometimes some things are just meant to be lessons. Even beyond romantic relationships, in friendships too, having someone's best interest at heart doesn't always mean things will turn out right. It might cause you anxiety and worry about losing a friend, but this experience provides growth and understanding in managing relationships in life. It could be for reasons as fundamental as you and your loved one having different life goals, or maybe one of you dealing with addiction or toxic behavior. However painful, breaking up on good terms to focus on figuring yourself out is sometimes the best course. Experiencing a breakup can be really tough. It's essentially a whirlwind of emotions that makes you feel like you're at rock bottom. But it's in this moment that you can also learn a lot about yourself and create a foundation for growth. Also, it serves as a reality check that life doesn't always flow exactly as you'd want it to, and that's okay. However, it's not a necessary experience if you found lifelong happiness with your first love. Experiencing sadness and loss. I'd say experiencing some level of sadness is important. As Bob Ross, the painter and TV host, once reflected, going through some tough times can help us appreciate the good ones when they come along. It's like that annoying hangover, reminding you why you don't overdo it. But it's not just about personal growth. Experiences of sadness can also contribute to empathy and understanding towards others in their hard times. It's a universal experience. We all lose people we love and manage to carry on. So, as hard as it is to go through, it can make us stronger and more compassionate. Experiencing the loss of a pet might be tough, but essential for everyone. It's never easy, whether it's a longtime furry friend or someone relatively new like a hamster. It can really strike you differently when it's a companion you've had throughout significant years of your life. But it's not only the pain that's impactful, it's also the love and companionship they provided, something you may cherish forever. Also, it does offer perspective about life and loss. While I understand some people think it'd be ideal if pets lived as long as their owners, that isn't always reality. It's undoubtedly a tough process, but it also helps build character, and you come out stronger from the experience. Facing financial hardship. A bad thing everyone should experience at least once could be going broke. While it can occasionally lead to negative behaviors like becoming overly stingy or hoarding, it definitely teaches you the value of money. However, be mindful that it doesn't push you to avoid necessary things like medical care just for the sake of saving money. I know someone who did just that, and it really cost her in the end. It's important to balance your frugality and take care of your health, whatever the financial situation may be. Some might suggest that being poor could lead you to become a hoarder, but real hoarding is a mental illness, and more complex than that. Usually it has triggers and might be hereditary, so it's a different dynamic. Ultimately, facing tough financial situations can teach you a great deal about management and priorities if taken in the right stride. As in not knowing where your next meal is coming from, it would give people a real perspective on poverty and potentially make them more empathetic. It's very easy to judge judge people in these situations when you've never been in their shoes. It's not so much about the amount you donate, but the understanding and empathy a situation like this can foster. Health challenges. Having a mild health issue or injury can be a good, yet unpleasant, wake-up call. It's something that humbles you, makes you appreciate your health more, and helps you develop greater empathy for others dealing with chronic pain or disabilities. For example, an experience like breaking a leg or suffering from a short-term illness. Of course, we're not talking about severe or incurable diseases. No one should have to go through that. But a brief brush with health problems can give you some much-needed perspective and understanding. Going through a false positive on a medical test can be a real wake-up call. It helps you realize what truly matters in life. Tough jobs. It seems like a consensus that everyone should try working in customer service at least once. This includes jobs like waiting tables, retail, or front desk services. It could be nerve-wracking, but it's an eye-opener. Makes you appreciate those folks more, gives you a taste of real-life challenges, and teaches you patience as well as empathy. You won't forget it, that's for sure. Having rude people thrown at you surprisingly transforms how you treat folks in retail or food service afterwards. Just a minimum of 6 months could really soften people towards those behind the counter. Plus, nothing says reality check quite like surviving a holiday season in a major retailer. I reckon everyone should try have a job as a dishwasher at least once. It can be gross and tiring, but boy, does it build your character. Sure, it might not be the worst out there. I've heard McDonald's grill or working on a sewage system can be total nightmares, but it gives you this raw and real sense of the working world and really makes you appreciate your other jobs. Plus, who knows? You might even find it therapeutic like some folks do. You gotta tough it out once in your life. Everyone should try their hand at manual labor at least once. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be really tough. Jobs like commercial fishing, oil rigging, landscaping, even roofing can knock some sense into you and help you build real character. You might even end up loving it and making some decent dough. Trust me, commercial fishing, halibut long lining in the North Pacific, it is a full-on reality check. And the people, just unforgettable. Having to sub at a challenging high school is definitely tough. It's an experience that gives you a whole new level of respect for teachers. Customer service nightmares. Another bad thing everyone should experience at least once is trying to cancel an internet provider service. It's an experience that tests your patience as well as your negotiation skills. There are lots of horror stories about it. For instance, there are those who were charged for modems they already returned. There are those who had to deal with multiple accounts and modem rental fees, even if they didn't want to rent. Then, there are those who experienced downright scamming or dealing with clueless technicians. In some cases, the process ends with a bill they didn't expect or services they never used. Truly, canceling an internet provider service is a marathon you wouldn't want to run, but need to experience at least once, just to appreciate good service when you see it. Trying to cancel a gym membership without hidden fees can be a challenging task everyone should experience at least once. It's definitely a headache, but it teaches you a lot about hidden terms and agreements. Unexpected realities. Experiencing a dead phone battery can be a proper humdinger. It forces a halt to endless internet scrolling, giving you a moment to see the world isn't as awful as it sometimes seems online. Some might argue it's only a new age problem, but let's be real, everyone from your kid cousin to your 80-year-old grandpa is hooked to their phone nowadays. No doubt, we managed before smartphones came along, but it's a whole new ballgame now. You'd be surprised how refreshing it feels when you're unexpectedly unplugged. Everyone should experience being the downstairs neighbor at least once. It's not always a fun ride, but it sure gives you a perspective about noise and respect. Getting scammed when you're young. It's definitely painful, but it teaches you to be more cautious in the future. Uncomfortable social situations. Doing stand-up comedy or public speaking is another experience worth having. It could be mortifying, but it really teaches you how to handle nerves and project confidence. Trying an extreme sport once can be nerve-wracking but very rewarding. It really pushes your limits and gives you a new perspective on fear and excitement. Surviving without modern comforts. Everyone should experience camping without modern amenities at least once. It might sound dreadful, but it helps you appreciate the comforts we often take for granted and gives you a sense of self-reliance. Living without a smartphone for a week. It sounds impossible in today's world, but it would give a much-needed perspective on how we rely on technology. Having to walk to school, preferably in some rough weather. It builds character and gives you a story to tell your kids. Everyone should experience moving to a new place where they know absolutely no one. It helps you build social skills and adaptability. Living in a place with power outages is definitely an experience worth having. It's a pain, but it teaches you how to live without relying on electricity and makes you appreciate it more. Going on a silent retreat. It sounds peaceful, but it's actually really tough to be alone with your thoughts for that long. In summary, there are many bad experiences worth enduring at least once in your life. From navigating personal challenges like rejection, loss, and breakups, to tackling tough jobs, customer service nightmares, and moments of financial hardship, these experiences teach resilience, empathy, and self-awareness. Embracing discomfort and adversity helps build character and appreciation for life's simpler joys. If you liked these tips about life, you can get more on the channel, so consider subscribing.